NFL Week 14 predictions. So filming this after the Sunday night game, so I don't know all the results yet. But you have your first game, the Steelers versus the Patriots. This is gonna be such a boring game. Um, they're both coming off losses, both pretty embarrassing losses. The Patriots lost to the Chargers 6-0 to 6. Steelers lost to the Cardinals by 14, and neither of these teams have like a good offense at all. They both have decent defenses. Bill Belichick, Patriots defense has played well the last couple of weeks, but their offense hasn't. Steelers, same thing. Defense is kind of carrying them. Um, this is going to be such a boring game, but I do trust the Steelers offense a little bit more than I trust the Patriots offense, so I gotta take the Steelers here. Then you have the Jaguars versus the Browns. Jaguars play on Monday night while the Browns lost to the Rams. Joe Flacco ain't it. He did play good, but when the Browns needed him to step up, he threw a pick. Browns defense definitely not as good as it was a couple weeks ago. While the Jaguars, they look like they've been playing a lot better coming off that win against the Texans. Defense has been playing better. Trevor Lawrence has looked a lot better than he was early on the season, so I do think the Jaguars are going to win. They're just starting to get better now, while the Browns are starting to get worse. Then you have the Jets versus the Texans. Um, Texans are coming off a win against the Broncos, while the Jets coming off a loss against the Falcons. The Jets defense is still very good. They managed to slow down a decently good Falcons offense, but the Jets offense is like non-existent. While the Texans, CJ Stroud continues to look good. Their defense is still kind of hot and cold, but they played pretty well versus Russell Wilson, and obviously CJ Stroud elevates those wide receivers around them. So I'm even with Jets home field advantage, I do think this is a trap game for the Texans, but I don't see the Texans losing, so I'm taking Texans here. Then you have the Colts versus the Bengals. Interesting matchup. Bengals play on Monday night against the Jaguars, while the Colts come off an OT win versus the Titans. The Colts defense definitely does not look that good. First of all, they didn't play that well versus the Titans. They let Derrick Henry score 2 touchdowns on them, and overall this season they haven't played particularly well. But that Colts offense has played great. Gardner Minshew has looked great. Not sure if Jonathan Taylor is going to be back for this game, but Zach Moss should fill in admirably. Pittman has been looking a lot better. And on the Bengals side, they lost Joe Burrow, and without Joe Burrow, that offense just doesn't really function. And that defense is good, but not like a great carrying offense, so I'm going to take the Colts here. They're a more healthy team, and they're just more balanced than the Bengals right now. Then you have the heavyweight matchup. Well, not really anymore. You have the Chiefs versus the Bills. The Chiefs lost to the Packers on Sunday night. Bills are coming off a bye. Both these teams really need rebounds right now. The Bills did play really well against the Eagles. But so far this season, the Bills' defense continues to get worse and worse and less healthy. Even and Josh Allen still has a turnover problem, while the Chiefs, their defense is still playing well, but their offense also has a problem. It's going to be a close matchup, but I think the Chiefs are a lot more healthy. Their offense is better than the Bills' defense, so I'm taking the Chiefs here. Then you have the Chargers versus the Broncos. Divisional game, so hard to tell. Chargers come off a win against the Patriots, while the Broncos coming off a loss against the Texans. It's going to be a close game. Both these teams have talent. Broncos, they've been playing a lot better lately. Chargers, their defense has been playing a lot better lately, but their offense hasn't. Although overall this season the Chargers offense has played a lot better. It's going to be a close game regardless because it's a divisional rival. I'm going to take the Chargers because they have home field advantage, kind of. And you have the Dolphins versus the Titans on Monday Night Football. Dolphins, they're coming off a pummeling of the Washington Commanders, and the Dolphins' offense is very explosive. Achane is back. Mostert's still very good. Tyreek and obviously Waddle. But that Dolphins' defense has played a lot better. They had a pick six on Howell. While the Titans, they played a good game versus the Colts, but lost to them eventually. Colts' offense looks better. Not sure if Derrick Henry's going to play for this game. Will Levis isn't doing anything exceptional, but I don't think the Titans defense will be able to stop Miami, especially with Miami at home field advantage, so I'm taking Miami here. Then you have The Ravens versus the Rams. Ravens are coming off a bye. Rams are coming off a big win versus the Browns. Ravens are probably considered one of the best teams right now. Their defense has been stifling, and their offense has been good for the most part. Although last couple of weeks have not been that great. While the Rams, Stafford is playing his best ball right now. But the Rams, I don't think they don't have enough talent for me to, for them to beat the Ravens. So I'm taking the Ravens here. Then you have the Vikings versus the Raiders. Interesting matchup. It's gonna be Dobbs versus AOC. Neither. Raiders do have home field advantage, but their offense really isn't that good outside of Josh Jacobs. Their defense is better, but not great, but could cause problem for Dobbs. While the Vikings, Dobbs looked horrible versus the Bears the last time they played, and that Vikings defense isn't much better. But JJ should be back for this matchup, so I'm taking the Vikings here. Then you have the Falcons versus the Bucks. NFC South showdown. Neither of these teams are that good. The Bucks do have the better offense, but the Falcons have a significantly better defense. So I'm going to take the Falcons here. Then you have the Bears versus the Lions. Divisional matchup, definitely a potential trap game for the Lions. Bears are coming off a bye. Last time they played, the Bears defense pretty much shut down Josh Dobbs, and there's that. But the Lions, they're coming off a big win over the Saints, and the Lions, their offense continues to be very, very good against a Bears defense that hasn't been that good this season, although they have been improving. And I trust the Lions defense to slow down the Bears offense just enough, so I'm taking the Lions here. Then you have the Saints versus the Panthers. Panthers, they just can't get a win right now. They just can't get a win. There's nothing around that. While the Saints, they're coming off a loss against the Lions, but their offense did show some life in the after the first quarter, and their defense has been playing good outside of last week. So I'm taking the Saints here. Then you have the Niners versus the Seahawks. Seahawks coming off a mini bye after losing to the Cowboys on Thursday, while the Niners coming off probably their biggest win of the season against the Eagles. Seahawks, they definitely looked better versus the Cowboys, especially their offense, but their defense is still kind of a liability. While the Niners, they've just been a machine ever since the bye week. They pretty much shut down Jalen Hurts. They carved up that Eagles defense. I can't go against the Niners right now. Then you have the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Cowboys coming off a big win a win over the Seahawks, while the Eagles coming off a loss against the Niners. Cowboys, they played really well versus the Seahawks. Their offense, Dak Prescott, even when they were behind, they still managed to come back, seal the win. Cowboys defense, definitely not their best game, but so far this season they've been playing really well. While the Eagles, they kind of got exposed last week. Not gonna lie, Jalen Hurts definitely couldn't really throw against that Niners defense, but Hurts has been playing really well this season. But Cowboys are also one of the better defenses in NFL, and I'm still worried about that Eagles defense, especially that secondary, who forgot how to tackle Debo. The first matchup was really close, and I expect Dallas to split the series, so I'm taking Dallas here. Then you have the Giants versus the Packers. Giants just aren't really that good of a team right now. It's definitely a trap game for the Packers, especially with Giants' home field advantage and a good interior defensive line. But I think the Packers' defense is good enough to slow down Tommy DeVito, and that Giants secondary isn't all that. And the Packers, they've been playing well. They're coming off a big win over the Chiefs. They've been playing. Jordan Love has been playing out of his mind the last 3 weeks, and even with the injuries, the Packers continue to play good football. So I'm giving the Packers here. So there you have it, NFL Week 14 predictions.